area, but I want to show you the syllabus, and we can talk a little bit about those. First, to how you get in touch with me. My cell phone number is on there, which you can text me if you've emailed me. Use the email if you can about questions, about some kind of assignment, or you don't understand. We'll set up some office hours in the evening through the Zoom app that I can send you emails or post on announcements, and we'll continue from there. But you can send me a text to say, hey, I sent you a quick note, and then I'll know for sure that that's the email that I can go and double check to see what what the description of that is. If you think that's something you want to make sure I can get to, I'll answer as soon as I can. Obviously, I teach as well other classes, and so when I can, we'll get back in touch with you quite quickly. I will set up office hours, and it'll be somewhere between 6 and 8 your time. So. If there's other questions about those, or if we need to set up another one, just let me know, and we can find a time that we can set this up. The textbook we're going to use is this Introduction to Physical Science. It is by Shipman, Wilson, and Todd. I can come up a little closer. Here's the one I picked up at Half Price Books, and so this was, I think, $12 on Half Price Books or some used bookstore. Otherwise, it's about $150 for new versions. We're in the 12th edition, so if you can get an older one for less, I would encourage that. We will be using the ends of the chapters as assignments for homework. I will have during class times that you can work on problems to make sure you understand the skills that we're developing. So there'll be two sort of sets of assignments that can go on there. In physics, we look at a couple of things. We're going to look at how energy and matter interact, how if you're pushing something, where it goes, where it flies to. So motion, forces, how things collide and then impart energy to each other, and then how energy is always conserved in that process, and that'll help make some problem solving quite a bit easier. That's the first segment in this first 2 weeks, these first 4 chapters from motion, understanding some background in math, of course, then motion, the collisions, and some energy involvements. So that's going to be these first 2 weeks, and at the end of every 2-week segment, you're going to have a test. So there'll be some online discussion pieces. There's going to be the daily kind of work that we're doing in class. There'll be some homework that I'm going to ask you to do, and the tests, and each of those will add up, and I'll go through that shortly. What you're going to need, though, in terms of materials for the class, make sure you get a great notebook you can use just for this class, single subject. A pen or pencil, either way is fine with me. I don't mind either way. And then a good scientific calculator. So there's a couple of options. The TI-83, 84 series is sort of the standard bearer, and I really do like it for the graphing that you can do. If you choose and don't have one of those, you choose the less expensive option. You may have to grit some graph paper and then do some graphing by hand. But the TI-83 will allow us to do all the graphing that we might want to do. I have at least 2 labs where where you can take those and put those as homework. To put some information in after we get some hang of how to do those, or like I said, draw it out on graph paper. But there's also the TI-30, which is super inexpensive. It's about $15. The 83, 84, I think the cheapest I've seen online is about $70, and then the TI-84 is more like $120. So certainly pick the one that's most appropriate for you. The TI-30 will do those trig functions and some of the other scientific math that we're going to need. Make sure you have a word processor spreadsheet. We may do a couple of graphing kinds of things. You could use a spreadsheet to do that as well. And then whatever computer you're using, make sure you have a couple of browsers. Sometimes some of these animations will work in some where you have plugins that aren't current, and so you'll have to switch to another browser. But I think most of you are already used to using this if you've done a couple of classes already. We will have, like I said, in terms of delivery mode, lectures that are going to be starting us. There's going to be assignments which you can just post and pull off that are going to be Word docs that you can edit. There's going to be discussion boards and a test which you can do, and I'll figure out the interactive sort of portion. This is, of course, the new learning management system that we're using, and so I'll get that down even before the end of the week. I'm adding new kinds of components to those. I'm just getting used to where those all are. I've used them on other management systems before, so it's a matter of just finding them. Make sure that when you're involved that you're getting those assignments in. There's deadlines each week. We'll have sort of the things that need to get in on a timeline. I'll list those in the bottom in the course outline, and have some learning outcomes that I want you to make sure. But most of them are going to be, how does energy create matter to move, and where will it be after it's moved in those kinds of timelines. We're going to learn the ideas of how motion and energy are involved, but you're also going to learn mathematically how to represent that. And those are two of the things in the physics side that are goals for you, how light and energy are interacting and how we can calculate some of those. In the chemistry side, how the molecular picture of what those atoms are gives the big physical properties. And then again, some analytical or more number-based kinds of things. So I have 2 ops learning sets, and you'll see that there's probably 12 learning goals that those are. And the idea is how to work mathematically with matter and energy and motion, and how to then have the idea of what those imply. The course deliverables are always going to be assignments in which you can turn in, discussion boards which you can post, tests in which you can finish and have those come in. The quizzes, as I pull those together, are just going to be ones that you can take again until you understand the concepts. You'll also find that I'll have answers for you that you can check your work. The exams are going to be on the Fridays of each 2-week block, and those are going to be, I'll show you in a little bit what the points are for those. Discussion board participation, I'll ask that you would interact with each other as well as me, just so we can get to know each other. The first one's going to be something easy enough to say, what do you want to get out of this course? How is that going to affect what you're choosing in terms of your career? Because I'm excited about that and what we can speak to while we're going through the course. Late work is not accepted. I will put sort of deadlines that are up. If we find that it's on a different schedule, I know that we're in the apprenticeship program have a schedule that is not working. Just get in touch with me. So we may have to just see how that works for you. Grades are the following. Usually the skill building assignments during class are 10-point assignments. The discussion boards once or twice a week, depending on what week it is, will be 20 points. The end of chapter questions, which are more homework that you can use to send in. And if you don't have the book right away, take a picture of one of your classmates, the problem sets, so that you can at least work them from your phone at the end of class before you leave, so you have those as access. But get out there and get that book. And the last one is that each of your exams is worth 60 points. And so that any unit every 2 weeks is basically 100 points, and through the semester we'll have 400 points. The grading table is shown. You will have access to me. The phone number is at the top, and we can set up virtual meeting times. The phone number, again, just use that to text me, hey, I've got a quick question on your email, and I'll get back to seeing what I can do about answering that. The last thing is just in terms of Netiquette, to when you're discussing things online, to be appropriate, to be encouraging, to work as a team. More importantly than anything in this process is that science is sometimes new and it's confusing, and so it isn't like if you had tons of experience you can just fall right into it. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit to crack that egg to make it start making sense. In which case we want to encourage everyone. We'll get more done together. And using encouraging kinds of emails or comments that I'll have on the posted sort of materials, and I think that you'll find that you'll go a lot further in your learning as well. Be concise and let me know what you need, and try to just respond to those that are that you want to deal with. Most of the time it'll probably be with me. Learning services are available, and of course then the course summary is going to be available at the bottom of this document in those learning areas. So with that, you're going to get started on your assignments today, and it's going to be a great way to hear the lectures, talks, the activities, and I'll try to break those up into short segments where you can get some hands-on before you go on to the next segments. So I look forward to spending this year together, and it'll be a wonderful time.